Hi YouTubers, this is another video from your friendly neighborhood reviewer Evelyn. Today we're going to be doing something different. We're going to be reviewing a horror movie that I just saw yesterday, Antlers. It came out 2021. Antlers is a supernatural horror film directed by Scott Cooper. The films maybe you might be familiar with. He is known for writing and directing Crazy Heart, came out 2009, Out of the Furnace 2013, and Black Mass 2015, and then the last one, Hostiles 2017. The film stars Kerry Russell, Jesse Plemons, Jeremy T. Thomas, Graham Greene, Scott Hayes, Rory Cochrane, and Amy Midgan. So the movie begins that we have a small town in America. Wasn't really disclosed, or maybe I just didn't pay attention. And we get the introduction of a dad with his little son. We have an idea that the dad is doing something illicit in this mining facility, and he goes in and leaves his little son in a truck and tells him, don't stay here, don't follow me, we'll pick up your brother later. And then as the dad goes into the mining shaft, he ends up encountering some sort of terrible creature. And the little boy hears sees his dad hasn't come back, and he goes into the mining shaft as well, and something happens to the little boy. And then we get a jump forward where we get introduced by this school teacher played by Kerry Russell. Her name is Julia Meadows, where we can see that this school teacher is struggling with something. And as she's in the classroom, talking about fables and stories, we see this other little boy put right in the back. The other little boy's name, good actor, Jeremy T. Thomas, where he's there scribbling away, and we get the sense that he's an outcast within the classroom. And as the teacher tries to engage with her students, she's having no success. And then as she returns back home, we get the introduction of her brother, Paul Meadows, played by Jesse Plemons. I've seen Jesse Plemons in some other films, and we see kind of like a very strange dynamic where her brother is the sheriff of this town, and we get the feeling that there aren't many police officers, and that he was forced to take up the position as sheriff since nobody else wanted the job. So we kind of see that they have a strained dynamic relationship as Julia had to move back in with her brother for some unknown reason. And then the film relies on some flashbacks of both the brother and the sister in terms of their father, and we get the understanding that their father was mentally unstable. So as the film progresses, we see that the little boy gets picked on by this other older kid, this redhead, and Lucas has to deal with that bullying. And also we see Lucas exhibiting strange behavior. For some reason he's there collecting roadkill, animal guts and so on. And then when we see him return home, that within his house there's a lock there, and there's people banging and stuff. And then it's later revealed that his father and his little brother are locked in there, and that there's something wrong with them clearly. We don't get clear shots of the dad, so we're left with the kind of intrigue of what's wrong with the dad. He kind of looks, very animalistic, like a creature. And Lucas is there, feeding his brother animal roadkill parts. Things progress, we see that Judy is concerned about Lucas because she feels like she can relate with Lucas with her own struggles with her dad. So she goes and follows Lucas into an ice cream place, and she tries to bond with Lucas, saying, I also lost my mother when I was 12. But then again, Lucas realizes what's going on. We can tell that Lucas, is quite bright, had to deal a lot with his life. And then as Julie tries to tell her brother about what's going on with the little boy, unfortunately the brother has his own problems, because in the film we get mentions that he resents his sister for leaving him with their father, because as later described in the movie, the father was extremely abusive to the both of them, and it was revealed that after their mother died, that just things turned for the worst. And then within the movie, we get the first sight of the kill, where the previous sheriff went and found a torn up body within the woods. So they start investigating. Point of the story, which I realized was something supernatural, like a Native American, where we get the brief introduction of this other actor. This actor, Graham Greene, he has a First Nation. He's a First Nations Canadian actor, which you probably well know him from seeing from Dances with Wolves and other Native American Indian films. So when he identifies the creature, which Julia goes and shows, I saw him, I knew that this was something Native American. I thought skinwalkers, but it was revealed that it was a Wendigo, because when they found the first body found torn up, there was a piece of an antler, hence Antlers, the name of the film. And then when Julia brings the drawings to him, he says it's a Wendigo. Of course, Julia's brother Paul is skeptical because a big giant creature, they're killing up people, so he just chalks it up to an animal killer and so on. And then the other part of the movie, there's elements within this movie where it's a symbolism about what happens in small towns in America where there's not enough funding, there's not enough opportunities, not enough police force, and that people just virtually have given up. However, Julia, doesn't take that, so she goes to the head teacher of the school, the principal, which when she goes to talk to the principal, Ellen, about the boy, and she just, we can tell the principal says, there's nothing really that we can do. We just have to thank God that the boy goes and attends school and has somewhere safe to stay, which of course it's just it's not the thing that we want to hear within the movie. But however, we see the head teacher does care, but she visits the home where Lucas is, and boy, when she came by herself, I knew she was going to die. She was going to die. So she knocks on the door, and then the door is clearly open, and then I'm thinking to myself, she shouldn't have got in by herself, but hey, we need body kills within the movie, of course. So she investigates, and she can see the whole house has the worst stench ever. And then she finds the locked door where Lucas's father and his younger brother's locked in. And then Ellen, her teacher, hears cries behind the door, and she's like, then she unlocks the door, and then she sees the little boy there, clearly there's something wrong with the little boy, ragged and everything. And she's about to, say something or go for help. The father comes out and bites the woman's face off. I've seen a lot of zombie movies, but I've never seen something literally just wanting to chomp the face off poor the brother of Julia. And then Julia goes and then tells Paul, I told her about Lucas, so on. Have you seen, Ellen, head teacher, obviously the co-workers. And Julia's like, what happened to her? And he said that her husband reported her missing. And then Paul and this other officer, played by Rory Cochrane, they both go to Lucas's house to ask. And when they get there, Paul makes a remark saying that the house smells like death. We just know, when we can see that Paul, it's he's reluctant to have a look deeper. He just probably wants a peace of mind. And so they go out from the property. But Julia, being the inquisitive person she is, she goes to the house. And there's one thing I forgot to mention. When Lucas's dad was chomping at Ellen, we see that he goes through a transformation where his chest starts to glow up. It's really like a nuclear bomb waiting, to explode. And then we see him, Lucas's father, or was known once as his father, shed his skin, something comes out through his mouth, and he ends up leaving behind snake skin. Because before that, when I saw that, I was skinwalker type, but of course in the film is later revealed it's a Wendigo. So a Wendigo is just basically a creature, a spirit that inhabits humans and makes them cannibalistic. So it's kind of have Native American, folklore. But now getting back to when Julie gets to the house, she uncovers, Ellen's car, because when Lucas came back and saw the devastation that happened, that his little brother's missing, so is the dad, he tries to hide the evidence. Your heart really goes out for Lucas because you feel like he's trying to keep his family together somehow, but futile what happened. And so when Julia finds the car, she immediately calls Paul and everybody, and they get there, and then they find the remains of what was Julia and so on. But Paul just doesn't want to hear it. He's like, this has to be some awful coincidence, so on. But the forensic science, doesn't lie. We know that what was remained there was Lucas's father, and poor Ellen there, torn up. And of course, when Julia's there until night, and when Lucas comes back, she has to console Lucas, telling her dad, telling what happened. They take Lucas to the hospital, and what really got me annoyed is that immediately the doctor goes and starts sprouting that he's psychologically damaged, but they make it look like he's never going to, that he's not functional whatsoever, and the doctor starts mentioning, let's pump him with pills and all that kind of crap. But Julie has a different take, and to really, be the person there to help him. As a teacher, you'd imagine that she has that feeling. Also, a survivor of abuse herself, she would like to help him where somebody didn't help her. And then the brother and the sister have a spat within the hospital. And also within a part of the film, the bully gets killed when Lucas was there. So there's another, person missing, and that gets told in the hospital to Paul. And they all chalk it up to, coincidence and so on until they find the body. So Julia goes and brings Lucas home, and that's where the final part of the movie ensues, where the monster, the Wendigo, is there trying to get Lucas as well. The little boy is there, and she tries to explain to Lucas that was not your parents, but he doesn't want to listen. He does want to listen, understandably. But Julia and Lucas are not alone. The other Officer Dan LaCroix is there, but he gets eaten. The Wendigo is there. He gets the antlers right into his body, and he's like finished, gone. And Julia and both Lucas Julia knows something wrong when she starts hearing the creature sounds and so on. And Lucas says, oh, my dad's here to get me. So she's like, oh my God. Paul comes back to the house when he realizes that there's something wrong, as his other officer friend goes and radios him and says, there's something going on. But as Paul gets there, he finds the body of his, dead colleague, and the creature there goes and attacks him. So he's like, they're fighting for his life, while Julia comes out and then tries to, save her brother. Well, the brother doesn't die, so they both go back there, and Lucas has escaped to the mines, and Julia is tending to her brother, and they both get into the brother's sheriff pickup jeep, and they go riding off. They go driving off to the mines. Julia goes and phones the ambulance, and we pray that the ambulance get there, but in the middle of the mines. So Julia's brave. Goddamn, she's a brave woman. She goes in there with the flashlight and, her brother's gun, and then she finds the creature. And there's a big fight that ensues with the creature. Bloody hell, it's like something out from hell. Honest to God, something out from hell. There's like spreading tall and everything. And then we get the macabre scene of the skin, something like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the skin of the father's face plastered within the creature. So she manages to shoot the creature and stop stabbing him, but then that Lucas had probably within his mind, he realizes that there's nothing left of his dad. So he goes and stabs his dad stabs the creature, helps stabbing the creature right in the chest with a hunting knife. And then Julia finishes it off by taking what appears to be, the heart of the creature that looks like molten lava, big brimstone, out, and kills the creature. And then we get the horrible ending of the film, where I'm not saying horrible that was bad, but more the fact that the little brother starts transforming. And then I was just like, oh my God. I could relate to that because I'm the oldest, I'm the oldest sibling. I could never imagine having to kill my own younger sibling. Julie has to heartbreakingly tell Lucas that he needs to understand that his brother's never going to get better. And of course, Lucas is resistant at the idea, but at the end, he has to agree. So Julia, with, tears in her eyes, goes and, apologizes to the little boy and kills him, unfortunately. And then we get the flash forward into the scene where Lucas is playing, by the shore, of the river with the stones, and then we have Julie and the brother there. The brother's there with an arm sling, and they're talking about what do we do with Lucas, and Julie says without hesitation that they're going to keep him. But then again, with some movies, the trend is it's not over. We see the brother goes into a coughing fit and starts coughing his heart away, and we realize he's infected too. And the movie ends there. Okay, the movie was great. I read briefly that the critics said there was, great cinematography. The screenplay was underdeveloped. Could understand that. But to take it for what it is, just one series of one bad week for everybody within the town. And the film is kind of symbolic in terms of what's going on in society, what happens in small towns, what people have to resort to, drugs, crime, just to, get by. Well, YouTubers, this is a very different film. I just want to thank people that have subscribed to the channel so far. Let's help keep on growing the channel far. I take any good comments, constructive criticism, how I can improve this channel more. And this channel is dedicated to everybody that loves watching movies of any kind, TV shows of any kind, and me giving my honest, feedback. Thanks, YouTubers.